Welcome to Financial Issues, where we join reality with truth, helping you make the most of your money by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
Good morning. Welcome to Financial Issues, today's Rapid Fire Friday. Our phone lines are open. We're ready to get your call, 610-363-1110. So Financial Issues, if you're tuning in for the first time, is a ministry that educates people about financial issues from a biblical worldview. We offer a partnership where you can get access to our asset allocation models and our buy list if you want to be a manager of your own portfolio, because we believe it's important to defund darkness with a biblically responsible investment strategy. We hope that you'll stay tuned to hear more about that. We also encourage you to not only defund darkness, but fund the light. Be a joyful, generous, and obedient giver, showing the Lord that you are grateful for all the gifts that He has given you, acknowledging that He is the giver, and being obedient and joyful in returning to the Lord what is His. On today's show, we're going to get to In the Know, helping you make sense of this week's economic headlines, including all of the labor data that we've got out this week. We'll also get to your calls and questions. Again, 610-363-1110. And if you're one of the first two callers, you're going to get our late founder's book, Dan Celia's book, The Fear of Money. So let's hop right into In the Know. At Financial Issues, we help you stay in the know about the financial issues of the day. We keep you abreast of what's happening in the economy and the markets and help you understand how that impacts your own personal financial issues. So, lots of takeaways from this week's data that came out ending today, October the 4th of 2024. It was Jobs Week, talking all about the labor markets. The biggest news to me, this happened just recently. Yesterday evening, the port strike was resolved. The port workers ended up negotiating a 62% pay increase over the next 6 years. Make no mistake about it. These costs will be passed along. So the latest offer raises the base hourly rate for port workers to $63 an hour from $39 an hour over the next 6 years. The White House, both privately and publicly, got involved with the negotiations, supporting the workers' stand for, or the workers' demand for increased wages. They said that that this agreement is going to extend their prior contract, which will still expire January 15th of 2025. So there's more negotiations to come, including negotiations on automation on the docks and a few other things. So this is not quite over, but it looks like we have averted a major issue for now. We got several economic reports out on the jobs market this week. First came JOLTS earlier in the week, where we learned that job openings have fallen and pushed the ratio of available positions to unemployed workers down to 1.1 to 1. That means that there is 1.1 open job for every one person willing to work. Seems like a pretty good matchup, but remember, just a couple of years ago, we had 2 open jobs for every one worker. That's why, we saw wages go up quite a bit. So, excluding the brief slump at the onset of the COVID pandemic, the last time the monthly hiring rate was at the level, current level was this summer, 3.3% of the labor force, but both in June and August. We also saw the quits rate come in lower. The quits rate is currently at 1.9%. ADP numbers also came in this week as well. We had a net 143,000 jobs reported in the private sector by ADP, which is ADP is a company that does payroll for over 1 million companies and about 25 million employees. So they have real-time data. They said that according to their data, 143,000 private sector jobs were added in September. That was above what was expected by economists. And those job gains came mostly from medium and large companies. So the 3-month private sector job gain has averaged 119,000. And we're comparing this to the 143,000 that came in. So the 6-month average at 143, so right in line with the 6-month average. The 12-month average is 144,000. So small businesses took it on the chin again, with those employing less than 20 workers losing jobs by about 13,000. Information services was the lone category, posting a loss of down 10,000. The story remains the same for weekly jobless claims that did come out yesterday. Initial claims rose to 225,000 from 219 the previous week, and that was 4,000 more than was estimated. The 4-week moving average came in at 224 versus 225 in the week before. Continuing claims were little changed, down 1,000 week over week, still above that 1.8 million level. Continuing claims remained elevated. That was my takeaway from that, indicating a modest pace of firings and hirings. So what's behind that? Maybe it could be that gig jobs pay more than unemployment. So driving for Uber or Instacart, delivering goods for Instacart, maybe putting people in a better position than claiming unemployment benefits. Also, lost technology jobs, you heard us mention that, over the last year have come with hefty severance packages. According to a Challenger report, they said their monthly job cut report suggested that those severance packages could potentially keep these laid off technology workers off the unemployment rolls and continuing to spend, at least in the short term. And the highly anticipated non-farm payrolls report came out just this morning, just a few short minutes ago. So the non-farm government payrolls report said that the U.S. economy has added 254,000 jobs in September. Now, that is much higher than what was forecast at 150,000 jobs and higher than the upwardly revised 159,000 jobs that we saw in August. This is the strongest job growth in 6 months and higher than the average monthly gain of 203 over the last 12 months. Employment continued to trend up in food services, drinking places, and here it is, healthcare and government. So healthcare, education, and government jobs are all really attributable to that government spending piece that we see. Payroll figures for July were revised up, and the change for August was revised up. Interesting. With these revisions, employment in July and August combined is 72,000 higher than previously reported. Have we already forgotten the revision, the over 800,000 job revision that we saw from March of 23 to March of 24, where the government got it wrong? The unemployment rate ticked down to 4.1% despite expectations for it to hold steady at 4.2%. Labor participation held steady at 62.7%. And, I think the biggest takeaway there is that the government is still likely over-counting jobs. Next month's job numbers are going to come in just ahead of Election Day and will probably be a little bit messy. We're going to have the port strike, any implications that we have from the port strike, which I think will be minimal, but Hurricane Helene is going to be a big fly in the ointment, potentially skewing maybe just short-term the employment numbers, but I think that there'll be some type of impact. And the toilet paper manufacturing workers are going to be going into overtime, restocking all the shelves.
Oh, good.
By the way, made in America, didn't come from the ports anyway.
That's right.
So markets so far this week we're looking to end the week in negative territory, but the pre-markets have turned pretty positive after the jobs numbers. They like the non-farm payroll numbers, which is a little bit surprising. That is typically good news that the job market is strong, but it does not support the narrative of aggressive rate cuts going forward that the market is expecting. Next week, we get inflation numbers, PPI, CPI, and consumer sentiment. Now that you're in the know about the recent and upcoming financial issues, we hope that you'll learn more about how you can integrate those issues into your own stewardship. Find out more about how you can defund darkness with our biblically responsible investment strategy. Whew, managed to get all that in the first segment. That's great, because we have lots more to come. We hope that you're going to stay tuned. We'll get to your calls next. 610-363-1110.
Was sobbing. It was a cry for prayer for God. I'm so sorry, please. So I got on the internet and I just started seeing like abortion pill reversal, and I found a hotline number. We're gonna get this started, and it's gonna seem like a lot, but it's gonna be so fast, and it's because you only have a certain amount of time left. It's gonna be okay. We got this. We're gonna try to fix this for you and make sure you know you're good and the baby's good. Don't worry. And when I came here, my heart was so warm. Other than Planned Parenthood, where I was very cold and I was lost, and I just felt like I could have been, it was just terrible. And to know that Compass Care could tell me something different and get reverse a medication like that, that's amazing. That somebody would go as hard as if it was their children to make sure your child is going to be alive and stay safe. So I want a lot of people to know it's possible. You can save your baby. You can reverse that abortion.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Welcome back to Financial Issues. We're going to get to our stewardship verse of the day really quick, because all of this talk about labor makes me want to know what the scripture says about it, right?
Amen. There you go.
So our stewardship verse today comes from Proverbs 12:24. It says that the hand of the diligent will rule, while the slothful will be put to forced labor. Well, many people think of money when they hear the word stewardship, because, that's typically the way that it translates into practical everyday life. But, although we may all be given different amounts of money, we're given different skills, we have different amounts of energy. I often look at my kids and think, man, wish we could bottle that up and give me some. But, we all have the same opportunity to use whatever we're given to the best of our ability. So at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we're first and foremost recognizing that everything that we have, our energy, our time, our talent, our money, our skills, our opportunities, they all come from the Lord. So it is a little bit of a sigh of relief is that, we don't have to compare ourselves to other people and what they have or what they're doing. We just have to look at ourselves, and we have to make sure that we're making the most of everything that God has given us. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, that's really good, Shana. Hard work is good. I think those union dock workers maybe could learn a lesson or two in the fact that hard work is good. And it's
62%.
Yeah, that's wow. That is.
They had to settle for that instead of 77.
I know they're suffering a lot there. It is good though, Shana. I mean, hard work is good. It leads to blessing. So I would hope that we would resolve to work with all our might for the glory of God, knowing, like you said, this is a stewardship issue. Our work. How we steward it well is going to be pleasing to God, whether we do it well or not. Speaking of work, Shana, let's get to work right here and work for a living.
Let's do it.
And get to some calls.
All right. Rapid Fire Friday. Joy's going to get a copy of Dan's book, The Fear of Money, and so will the very next caller. 610-363-1110. Hi, Joy. You're live on Financial Issues.
Good morning, Shana. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Go ahead with your question.
Okay. I'm a little nervous. I've never called in before. I've listened for quite a while.
You're doing great, Joy.
Both my husband and myself are retired from law enforcement, and we are drawing our pensions, and we're not planning on taking our Social Security until, like Dan said, until we're of the age of 67 or older. But my question is, I've never invested in before, and about 1/3 of our money is in Voya. And I'm trying to decide if it's wise to try to take that $120,000 and start investing it in the market. If Social Security remains solvent, and we wait until after 67 to start drawing that, I would think that we would be okay for the time being, and we would have about 10 years to have it invested in the market at that point.
Okay.
Beginning now.
Do you know what kind of investment that you have with Voya? I know that they sell several things, but they sell a lot of annuities. Do you know if what you have is an annuity?
I have paid because they were. I think I've got it all in guaranteed interest.
Okay, so is it in like an IRA account right now?
It is. I had called them. I've been listening to Dan for a long time, even though I've not done anything in the past. I had contacted them about asking them to put Timothy Plan on their platform for us to funnel money that way, and they said that because it was a specialized sector, they wouldn't do it. So, well, this has been a long time ago, So when they said that, I quit having my deferred comp going into Voya, and I stopped and I started trying to get it to go and doing something different to get some going into Timothy Plan.
That's an interesting answer that I haven't heard before. That's an interesting excuse for not including options that people want. So,
well, and I even suggested, I was trying to get my coworkers. I kept telling them, please contact at the time it was Arkansas Diamond. Please contact them and tell them we would like to have Timothy Plan as one of the options. But I don't know that any of them ever called. But anyway, regardless, So all I know is I took it because the markets were doing crazy, and I know that I needed to take that money and make it safe. I took it all out, and it's in two different interest.
Well, Joy, I'm really glad that you spoke up for your convictions and your faith, and that you encouraged your coworkers to do that. I do believe it's sort of a losing battle because most of Wall Street does not share our convictions, and they just don't get it. But biblically responsible investing is a conviction of the heart. So, I'm really glad that you spoke up and said something because we need to have our voices heard. One of the reasons that corporate America is supporting so much of the garbage that they're supporting right now is because they're hearing from the other side, and they're hearing from the other side very loudly and proudly. And, we need to be a voice as well. So, kudos to you for doing that. So with that being said is, if they won't listen to what you want, at the end of the day, it's it's the money that you've been given to steward, and you have to follow your convictions. So if they don't have an opportunity for you to invest it biblically responsibly, which most of the options out there don't, because they just don't screen. So it's interesting that they call it, what did they call it? A specialty?
They call it, like I said, this has been probably 10 years or so ago. They called it a specialized sector or something like that.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's indicating to me that they didn't think there would be a lot of interest in it. I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm not a financial person. I just know that we've been trying to save, and I can tell you that the money that we have of that is in Valak fixed account and in Nationwide fixed. With Voya. That's the only things I can tell you. And we, like I said, my husband and I are both now retired, so this is, is money that we need to try and keep safe, but we're not utilizing it right now, and it's earning 7.744% interest.
Oh, okay. 0.74?
That's for my last quarter. That's what it was.
Okay.
For the year to date, it was 1.46.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is that you consider opening a discount brokerage account, one that will allow you to buy the Timothy funds. And then, you said you've been a partner for a long time. So take a look at our asset allocation models. We've got two. One is kind of where you build your own portfolio using the buy list. The other one is where you just use, the funds and the ETFs for a more hands-off approach. And then what I would suggest is go to that portfolio tracker on your partnership page and just mock build out a portfolio. Just see if you can do it. Put in your money, put in the 120,000 or whatever you have as cash, and then look at the output, and then pretend like you're going to build your portfolio over the next 6 months. What would you buy in the first month? What would you buy in the second month? Just walk through the exercise. It doesn't, there's no real life consequences for if you make a mistake or you get stuck somewhere. That's going to help you really determine whether or not you feel comfortable, building it out on your own. So I would say walk through that exercise and then, consider doing it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. I just want to acknowledge Dan for, I know he's gone to be with the Lord, but like I said, I listened to him for a long time. We were partners, but we've never done anything else with it. And we even had the privilege of working with him and Yvonne at the AFR Share-a-thons. So,
wonderful.
Very cool.
So we've been around a long time, but in that respect, we've supported AFR for decades. But anyway, thank you for taking my call, and have a blessed weekend.
Well, you did great, Joy.
Great call, Joy. Well done. A+.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless, Joy.
All right, good stuff. Well, our phone lines are completely open now, so if you have a question, you'll get right into that call queue, 610-363-1110. But I know we have some questions on the website.
Yes, we do here, Shana. Let's start off here with Alan. Alan on Ask Shana is asking about the market size for FP70 and FP90, both listed on the buy list. What is the market size for these holdings?
So FP70 is around $6.8 billion, which makes it a mid cap. And FP90 is going to be a large cap with a market cap of about 13.5. It may be on preferred. You always have to look at the underlying company, the company issuing the preferred stock. So you can look at just the ticker symbol for those if it doesn't pop right up with the market cap. So that's great.
Awesome. Shana, is that divide $10 billion? Is that the divide between mid cap and large cap that you said there?
Yeah, I mean, 2 to 10 billion is typically mid cap, and then anything over that's large cap, and then under that you have small and micro cap. But it's sort of relative to the industry too. So that's kind of our guideline, kind of rule of thumb. But you have some companies out there, mostly technology companies, that have market caps of $1 trillion. So in technology, you could say that, some of the dividing lines are a little bit skewed, but in general, that's kind of where we are. And that's what we base our definitions on the website.
Good stuff here. Shana, we just got this question from James on the website. He was on the chat. He's wondering, why would anyone buy a preferred ever when it's like above par? Is there a potential reason for that?
Sure. So preferreds like bonds, let's just say, are going to be, they have a fixed rate for their dividend. And so the fixed rate for their dividend is going to be set whenever it's issued. So, if you look back over history, interest rates have gone up and they've gone down. So, even though interest rates go up and down, the stream of income doesn't change. So, these preferreds are marketable on the secondary market, which means you can buy them from somebody that wants to get rid of theirs for whatever reason. So if the fixed rate is, say, 7% on a preferred, and the going rate right now is, let's say, 4.5%, then you would want the one with the income stream of 7%. So that means you're going to have to pay more to get it to equalize the yield. So that's why you would consider purchasing a preferred over par. Well, folks, if you listen on a station that only carries the 30-minute version of the show, we have to wish you a farewell today. We hope that you have our phone app, though, or know how to find us on social media and podcast. That way you can get the whole show whenever you need it. For the rest of you, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Is inflation, national debt, and volatility in the markets causing you anxiety? Well, you're not alone. I'm Shana Burt, host of Financial Issues, a nationally syndicated, biblically based program. During our daily program, we help you navigate the current financial climate and provide valuable insight so that you can be a good steward with the money that God has blessed you with. The Bible tells us not to worry and to seek wise counsel, and that's why Financial Issues is here.
Join our partnership community by visiting financialissues.org/join.
Hi, this is Shana Burt, the host of Financial Issues. The Financial Issues family is so blessed to have saved tens of thousands of babies, all thanks to the generous support of you, our listeners and viewers. For $140, you can sponsor 5 ultrasounds. Please go to preborn.org, that's preborn.org, or financialissues.org and click on the preborn logo. Save a baby, save a life.
As of this year, more than 1,000 school districts have adopted gender non-conforming policies that intentionally keep parents in the dark about their kids' gender identities. To make matters worse, the American Bible Society now reports Bible reading is at an all-time low. We can't hide from the issues facing our country anymore. The undeniable truth is we're in a culture war, and we must be engaged. For over the last 25 years, Financial Issues has stood as a leader of biblically responsible investing, encouraging the body of Christ to keep funds out of companies that dishonor God. We call that defunding the darkness. We're at the forefront of the fight, helping you not only with your finances, but advocating for truth and godly wisdom. Run the race with us as we press forward together. For more information, go to financialissues.org. That's financialissues.org.
Initially, when we became members, I thought, what if this doesn't work? I mean, we're going to give up this whole concept of insurance, and we're going to trust God and His people. And it was like, yeah, well, of course. I'm going to trust an insurance company to come through for me, or I'm going to trust the church to come through for me. And that's a no-brainer. I love getting the monthly share that I give to each month that has the name of a real person and their real medical concerns and a prayer request, for them. If I have a need, I know I can go get care. I can see the providers I want to see. I don't have to worry if they're in my network. And if we need medical care, the Samaritan is there.
A community of Christians paying one another's medical bills. For more information, go to financialissues.org and click the Samaritan Ministries banner.
Company, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Securities offered through G.A. Reppel & Company. Advisor, member FINRA and SIPC. Opinions expressed by Shana are hers alone and are for informational purposes only and do not necessarily represent those of G.A. Reppel or the outlet on which you are listening. You should consider how the information applies to your situation prior to personally implementing it, and consult any financial professional you work with to make sure it's applicable to your financial plan.
Welcome back to Financial Issues. Let's shift gears a little bit to something that's near and dear to the Lord's heart, and that's life. You know, the left, and I did watch most of the vice presidential debates. There was way too much there to get into, and it's probably all been belabored at this point. But, you know, one of the topics that came up there was abortion. And that is a very, very important, topic in this election season, in every election season, because, we're starting to see real division here. More and more division. It's a divisive topic already. But, the left would have you believe that access to abortion is important for quote unquote health care for women because of rape and incest, and, but they're just not telling the whole story. It's really just not true. In the debate, Tim Walz referenced two women who had very sad, but very, what I would think, uncommon circumstances. One girl was raped at age 12 by her stepdad and was so grateful that she was able to get an abortion. Another story about a woman in Texas who was having a miscarriage and couldn't get healthcare treatment because, and of course, this was all Trump's fault too for overturning Roe v. Wade, but had to go home and wait till she was almost septic to be able to get care. And you know what? The moderators held true to what they said. They didn't fact check him, although they did fact check J.D. Vance on lots of things. What they didn't clarify or look to the science for or to the facts for is that by far most abortions are done by women who feel that they have no alternative. Most of the abortions are still elective. There was a study that we saw recently that said that 95% of abortions are for elective or unspecified reasons. Less than 5% of abortions are performed because the mother or unborn baby has a physical health condition or because the pregnancy resulted from rape or incest. If we dig deeper just into the rape incest part of it, only 0.4% of abortions are because of rape and incest, and 0.3% are because the mother's life is at risk. So, there's the facts. This is not about women. I hate that it's called pro-choice because, our rights end where another person's rights begin, and that is in the womb. So that's why here at Financial Issues, we give you a great option for funding the light. That's one of our missions, is to encourage you in your stewardship, and part of that stewardship is giving. So, we're grateful to be partnered with Preborn Ministries, who is a wonderful ministry that helps women. It gives women an alternate course of action. When they find themselves in a crisis pregnancy, they end up in a preborn clinic. They're going to see an ultrasound of their baby. They're going to hear the heartbeat of the baby, and they're going to hear somebody speaking the gospel message to them, a message of life and a message of hope. And that if they do decide to keep their baby, they will be offered support. So debunking the left's accusation that the right only cares about forcing people to have babies and don't care about those babies once they're born. That is so not true. So if you've never supported preborn and you're looking for a place to give, we would ask you to go to our website, financialissues.org, and click on that preborn banner and learn more about the work that they are doing.
Well said, Shana. And it's even more dire these days, Shana, because it's not just the left who's coming after the unborn babies. There's a lot of people who are politically conservative who have basically adopted the 1990s Democrat stance, which is traditionally pro-choice. They would say we don't like abortion, but it's okay. In fact, Melania Trump recently on X. I think this was yesterday. She said, quote, "A woman's fundamental right of individual liberty to her own life grants her the authority to terminate her pregnancy if she wishes." Shana, I am flummoxed by this. I don't understand why the Trump campaign cannot just come out and be pro-life. I don't know who they're trying to win or who they think they can win with this. I think this is disgusting, and I think that Christians should be disgusted by this.
I do too.
It's gross. Yeah, it really is.
Explains a lot to me, though, because that is your relationship with your spouse is probably one of the most influential relationships in your life, and I wondered where this seemingly. Where Trump's seeming to back off of this abortion issue, I wondered where it was coming from. Yeah. And I'm so disappointed. Melania has stayed pretty quiet about most things, and I'm really disappointed that she's speaking up in this way.
Right. This is the issue
now.
you're going to talk. This is it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that she was pro-choice.
Yeah.
And, which is surprising considering that she professes to be a Catholic, which the Catholic Church has a very pro-life stance.
Absolutely.
So,
to its credit.
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Maybe one of the bishops will send her a bunch of roses and minister to her as well, just like they did to Nancy Pelosi.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But, Shana, if this tells us anything, if we need a blatant, obvious reminder not to put our trust in any politician, hopefully this is it. Our trust is not in Trump or the Trump campaign. It's in Jesus Christ. It's in Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And folks, I think this would discourage a lot of people from going to the ballot box. Please don't let this stop you. You have to go. I mean, it's a binary choice right now, right? Yep. It's either Harris or it's Trump. It's a binary choice, and a choice not to vote is pretty much a vote in support of the candidate that you most likely would have voted for. So, nobody's perfect. We don't have, as Dan always used to say, we're not electing a pastor in chief. Yeah. We're look at the platform, which is going a little bit weak, but it's still much better than let's have abortions all the way up to birth.
Yeah. Amen. That's
and
well
then
said.
keep the baby comfortable if they survive and until you decide what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. I think I heard that we have ag coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. We might be able to squeeze one question in here, Shana. I don't know if we'll have time to get to Leith's call. Maybe we can save him for the other side of the break.
All right. Instead of, I don't want to be rushed to answer the question. Totally. Why don't you talk about Bible study and where you're going to be next week? And so people can make plans to get in.
Yeah, I hope you guys were able to join us this morning. We had a lot of fun. We were in 2 Timothy 3. That's where we've been. This coming week will be in verses 14 through 17. Shana, this passage that's coming up here contains a very famous verse. All Scripture is God-breathed and profitable for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. Part of why I love our Bible study, Shana, is that we go verse by verse through books of the Bible, and occasionally we'll come to really well-known passages. This happened to us in the book of Hebrews, it happened in Philippians, and it's happening here now. This is one of those passages that people have on their coffee mugs. Everybody knows about it, but we're going to get the full context of it because we're in the middle of a letter that Paul is writing from a prison cell to his son in the faith who's kind of on the verge of cowardice right now. And so to hear the words, all Scripture is God-breathed, the reminder that we can trust in the Word of God, it just packs that much more of a punch when we understand the context. So I do hope you all will join us. Go to the resources tab, financialissues.org, and you can go down to join our Bible study. That has the call-in information. It never changes. It's open to anyone. You can be a partner or not. It's free. Great way to be able to open up your weekend. So
great. I'm so grateful that we have you as part of the ministry carrying on that Bible study that Dan started. All right, folks, we have room in the call queue, but you're going to have to get your call queued up now. 610-363-1110 is the phone number. We're going to hear from Craig Haugaard. He's got our ag report. We'll take a short break after that, and then we'll be back with more financial issues. So stay tuned. Here comes Craig.
This is Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Ag Update for October 4th. Corn saw weekly export sales were well above trade expectations, and that coupled with a strong crude oil market should have pushed prices higher. But after the recent run-up, the market just seems overdone. As a result, December corn was 4 1/4 cents lower at $4.28 1/4. Soybeans were a weather market yesterday. Here in the U.S., it looks like the weather may remain dry and harvest will proceed with minimal interruptions. In South America, weather forecasts continue to keep keep moisture in the picture for the 6 to 10 day outlook. The combination of good harvest conditions in the U.S. and good planting conditions in South America had soybean prices backing up. November beans finished a dime lower at $10.46 per bushel. Wheat was lower for the day as we hit some technical resistance levels, coupled with some growers selling as a result of the recent rally. Minneapolis December wheat was 2 3/4 cents lower at $6.46 1/4. Kansas City dropped by 7 3/4 cents, closing at $6.11 1/2. And we had Chicago 11 3/4 cents lower at $6.03 1/2. Cotton futures drifted lower. We had the closing bell. We had December futures down 67 points at 72.73. Livestock futures were also weaker. December live cattle were $1.30 lower at $186.40 per hundredweight. November feeder cattle declined by 42.5 cents, selling at $248.12 per hundred. And December lean hog futures dropped by 35 cents, ending the day at $76.40 per hundredweight. Class 3 milk futures broke to the downside in yesterday's action. At the closing bell, November futures were down 48 points as they settled at 21.83. This has been Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Egg Update. We'll be right back with more financial issues after this.
When it comes to money, I always have so many questions. I never know where to go to get answers to those questions. They never really teach you this stuff in school, like some of the best ways to handle it, how to save, when to invest, where to invest, even just what to do with the money. And if I put it in the stock market, what's the best way to protect from losing it all? That fear can be paralyzing. You don't really know what decisions to make. As a Christian, I don't want to give my money to people who are going to use it for things that God hates. When I discovered Financial Issues, it was like a burden was lifted off my shoulders. Not only did I gain access to a simple investment strategy that I can manage myself, I also have the peace of mind that my money will not be going to companies that actively promote things that God hates. Financial Issues has allowed me to experience peace in my investments.
Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
There are moments in life that define us. Choices determine the courses we take. Choices that create life, or those that save a life. And some make life worthwhile. There are decisions to stay, or to go, to remain the same, or to grow. Sometimes we pray and make peace. Other times we take a stand for what we believe. In celebration, mourning, triumph, and defeat, we are invested in every decision we seek. Despite differences, we have one thing in common: the desire to do all for the glory of God. Keep your wallet aligned with your heart and your investments in harmony with your faith. Timothy Plan, biblically responsible mutual funds, ETFs, and retirement plans. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at timothyplan.com. Read carefully before investing.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Welcome back to Financial Issues. It is Rapid Fire Friday, and we've got a few calls in the queue, so let's jump right to it. First, we've got Leith calling from Alabama. Hi, Leith. You're live on Financial Issues.
Good morning, Shana and Seth.
Good morning.
Hey, Leith. What's up, brother?
Hey. My question is about, I'm looking at possibly retiring from one job and moving into a second career, and I would like to be able to help families through the SFLIM, program, and kind of that thing to help families that way. And wondering what would your recommendation be as far as education, licenses? I know Dan always said he gave up his licenses to be able to speak freely about the thing, and I know that you maintain private practice. And so you have to be careful about some of the things you say on the air.
Mm-hmm. So are you asking about how to become a financial advisor, or?
What would your recommendation be as far as trying to maybe go into this field, become a financial advisor, in private practice and advise families that way, or do it some other way through the church?
Well, if you decide to do it through the church, I mean, you could, start your own little group at the church and maybe use a lot of resources from this ministry. There's a lot of good things that you can share with people. Just the cause of biblically responsible investing. I think, even though biblically responsible investing has been a thing for 30 years now, I think it's still not widely known in a lot of circles. And so, it's a great way to, we do have, Seth, and maybe you can help on this.
Sure.
We have those fear of money books and workbooks.
Yep.
I don't know what the supply looks like.
We got quite a lot here, Leith. Yeah, we'd be glad to send you one of these, or even, I don't know if I'm speaking out of term here, but we'd love to be able to help you out and even send you a couple if you wanted to start like a book study at your church. I think that'd be a great option.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. A book study.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go into, a career, I mean, there's a lot of things that you would have to do. Building a business is a really tough thing. I know, because I've done it for a long time. So, you do have to get licenses in order to do that. And then I think the biggest challenge that you're going to have is trying to find a firm that you can work with that's going to allow you the freedom to act on your biblically responsible convictions. I wish Jason was on the show today, because he could really speak to this and his personal journey with it, because he was in the same. He started listening to Dan. He got convicted about BRI. He wanted to go into the business for exactly. His story sounds a lot like what you just said, and so he started going around to the firms that would hire people who were newly licensed and inexperienced, and they were all captive places. Like, in order to go onto an independent platform, you pretty much have to have an established business. You have to be doing business at a certain level in order to get onto those platforms and be generating enough revenue to actually make it. So you've got to start somewhere, and that's what makes it tough, is when you have to go to these captive firms and they don't share your convictions on biblically responsible investing, and you have to know going in that you're not going to be able to pursue the one thing that you really wanted to do. So it's a tough entry point because of the way that the industry is structured.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for what you do, and being able to do the main keeping your private practice and helping people in that way.
It's a tough balance.
I've been a member about 5 years, and I got convicted and swapped all my stuff over, and so it's I even had an opportunity to start into a new plan, and my only option was basically put it in the money market, because I wouldn't do the mutual funds, and knew that they supported things that we didn't believe in.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well,
Absolutely.
Kudos to you for sticking to your convictions. And, sometimes, I hate to say it like this, sometimes all we can do is pray about it. That's the thing that we should be doing first and foremost. But, I can testify to the fact that if we go to God with the desires of our heart, He opens doors for us, and He gives us favor, and He gives us a path into doing what our heart's desire is, especially when it's involves honoring Him.
Yeah, and Leith, I'll just say too, if you feel like going the book study route would be something that you would want to do, this call that you just got warranted your free copy of both the Fear of Money workbook and the actual book. If you are led to do this, maybe make a donation to the ministry, and we can, if you want to, why don't you stay on the line with Dar, and we can kind of talk about getting you maybe a handful of some of these books that you can start a book study, if that might be something that you're interested in.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate the time on the show, and really appreciate the show each day.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling, Lee.
God bless, buddy.
All right. I think we have just enough time to get to Richard. He's calling from West Virginia. Hi, Richard. You're live on Financial Issues.
Good morning, Shana.
Good morning.
Chat with you.
Yes.
I'm a person. I'm I am 62. I'm getting closer to that point in time when I can hopefully retire from my main vocation. But one of the things that's troubling me, I have some monies I inherited from my parents. I have, of course, a 403B, personal savings, all those other fun things. But my problem is trying to find, I'm in my area, a financial advisor who is a certified fiduciary, because I'm old school. I do a lot on the internet, but I don't like to do everything on the internet. There's a point in time when I like to be able to look a person in the eye, sit across from them on the table, or have a local point of presence so that I can interface with that. And I have a hard time finding anyone locally. Is there any guidance or any sites or any things that you could help me to find someone who would fit that bill? I mean, I realize I'm going to have to pay for the services rendered, and that's not a problem, but I just don't like dealing with certain things that unless I'm in the same room with a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that makes it tough. I would say biblically responsible investing is a really small niche in the financial services industry. And so that does indeed make it hard to find someone who shares your convictions and then who has the freedom to actually act on that. So I don't know if you've ever heard my story, but when I became convicted and wanted to do biblically responsible investing, especially the way that Financial Issues does it, I had a really tough decision to make because my company wasn't having it. I had to actually leave to pursue the convictions that I had, that the Lord had given me. And so, I guess if it's just that being in the same room, personal feel, then you're limited. I would just suggest that you go and interview every single financial advisor that's within your, local area and go from there. I don't know anybody that's there. In fact, the only person that I work with is Jason. He is with my firm. So I know that he shares my convictions. I know that he shares the FIS and philosophy, and that's what we do. But I would also suggest to you too that if you're working with a financial advisor that is at least decent or good at all, they're going to run a very tight schedule. So it's going to be much like going to your doctor or your lawyer's office. You're going to have to make an appointment. You're going to, maybe have an hour with them. You're not going to be able to call them up on the phone every day and, get an idea and ask them what they think. I mean, they're going to be very busy. So servicing a lot of people. And so my opinion, and even Dan used to say this a long time ago, Zoom, everything that we do is over webinar. So we do see our people face to face. We talk to our people personally. The only thing is you can't reach out and touch them there. So,
which maybe for our introverts is a nice thing.
right. So, I mean, you can reach up and touch your screen, but it's very real. It's very personable. We know a lot of our clients on a personal basis, and so I would just encourage you, if it's really important for you, just go and interview. Know what you believe about biblically responsible investing. Be able to ask them those questions. Ask them the tough questions. What is their philosophy? What is their philosophy about taxes? What is their philosophy about estate planning? And all of those things. And then ask them the real tough question: does the company you work for allow you the freedom to exercise all of your beliefs? Because if they don't, then they're not going to be able to serve you in the way that they want to serve you. And I would say that, honoring your convictions to be biblically responsible and do things a certain way, honoring the Lord, is going to trump by far being able to sit across the table from someone. Amen. All right. Well, we're out of time today. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for calling. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in today. We're out of time on this Rapid Fire Friday, but we have an awesome show coming up Monday. We hope that you will make sure to tune in on Monday. We're going to remember October 7th, the things that have happened. We're going to have John Gwali on. He is the manager of the Israel Fund, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of good stuff coming up on Monday. So make sure you tune in. Lord willing, we'll be here to remind you time's getting short, the Master's coming back, and we want to help you be found good and faithful stewards. Check us out at financialissues.org and find out how you can become a biblically responsible investor.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.